No civil or criminal proceedings shall be brought in any court of law against A, the state, B, the state president, C, any member of the cabinet of the republic, D, any member of a force, E, any person in the service of the state, or F, any person acting by the direction or with the approval of any member or person referred to in the preceding paragraphs of the above sub-regulation 1.
And
attention!
F in any proceedings brought against any member
about face
or person referred to in the above sub-regulation 1 of the state. Question arises whether such an act, advised, commanded, ordered, directed, or performed by any person, it shall be presumed until the contrary is proven that such an act was advised, commanded, ordered, directed, and performed by him in good faith. First state of emergency, 1985. Shoot, how's that? By heart, too. I know it's last year's, but what the hell? The names may change, but the game stays the same. And boy, I know lots like it. You see law? It's my language. And that's my landscape. In South Africa, we live in such a bloody chaos of laws that it's hard not to let one single day pass without breaking one. My talent is to understand. Commitment to help those who don't. Okay, my name is Mia Steinman, and I'm an attorney. I was born in the Republic of South Africa. My father, he was a very active political lawyer. He was a colleague of Bram Fisher, Nelson Mandela, and Oliver Tambo. So I guess you might say most of my life has been spent watching history repeat itself. I've got some vague memories of the 50s treason trials and the removals from Sophia's town. More distant ones of Sharpsville and the first state of emergency. I remember playing with children, both black and white, who'd come to stay with us while their parents were in detention. I remember the changing faces at the dinner table and the extraordinary conversations I listened to and learned from people like Mandela, Sisulu, Ngube, Tambo, Fisher, Mbike, Ruth first. Yeah, it all seemed so simple and inevitable then, that our country would be ruled by people like these. But I watched a lot of them go into exile. Some go to prison, and some even lose their lives. But the one thing I learned was that the struggle would always continue. If not through their efforts, there are government special agents for creating political activists by the thousands. Anyway, like I said, I'm a lawyer. Born to a lawyer, married to a lawyer. My husband, Maya, he was a wonderful man. He's originally from Australia, and when he first came to South Africa, he didn't care about any laws that said whites couldn't marry blacks. He didn't see me as a black woman. He just saw me as me. My husband, Mike, was killed 5 years ago in a motor accident. So I run his practice now. I don't have any kids. I mean, I've always wanted kids, but well, at first Mike wouldn't, and then I couldn't, and in some ways, no. In many ways, I'm sorry. But I live an extraordinary life. I wouldn't want it to be different. I mean, I like my world to be different. Just not me. Okay, I'm 5'9" and trying to give up smoking. I haven't had time to stop. I haven't had a steady lover in nearly 2 years either. I haven't had time to look. But although times may change and faces may change, I still feel privileged to be part of a community that's all mine. It's a group of really wonderful people. A lot are clients, some potential clients, but we all have one basic thing in common, and that's a desperate need to change the world that we live in. Until the insanity of today's mass arrests, there were very few political people I didn't know, or at least who didn't know each other. Some say that this is an incestuous world that we live in, and at times it really seems so. But not all of my clients are political. Not all of them are friends. She's nice, but she's mean.
I'm Nicky Donahue, born in the R.S.A. I'm 5'8". I've been 5'8" since I was 12. For 3 years, I was the tallest in my class, boy or girl. My boyfriend was usually 3 inches shorter than me. It was so humiliating. So, when Glen came along, looking like he looks, and 4 inches taller than me, I thought he was from heaven. I don't know how old he was back then, about 18 or 19, but even then, there was something about him. I don't know, it was the way he listened. You see, Glen never spoke unless he had something to say. Not that he was shy or anything, just a strange kind of privacy. He was the first guy I slept with. Those were fantastic days. Beaches, discos, his daddy's car. I could have eaten him alive.
I'm Lwanga, art teacher, born in the R.S.A. I'm 5 feet and I've got a fetish for men 6 feet and over. The first time I saw Glen, and he's exactly 6 feet. I'd come to this meeting with me.
Yeah, I remember that.
And he was heading towards us, and I thought, my God! Oh, if he talks to me, I'm gonna die. Turns out it was me that he was heading for. She was representing him in some legal case.
My name is Glen Donahue. I'm a graduate student. I was born in the R.S.A. When I was little, I just used to sit and stare. Not out of boredom, just had a simple fascination with how a cloud was shaping itself or how an insect was moving. People always used to say to me,
What are you thinking about?
I just smiled and say nothing, because there was nothing to say. You see, privacy intrigues most people, so on the whole, people find me quite intriguing, especially women. They all have so many questions, and I just smile and shrug, and it drives them crazy. Now, the reason I do things is usually very simple, but no one will believe me. For instance, I decided to do my national service in the police force instead of the army because I could stay at home in Cape Town, the most beautiful city in the world. Simple. And I've always been able to get along quite well with Africans because I'm simply curious about them, not because of that whole liberal guilt thing. You know, and I never used to join in with raps about sex with all the other guys at the police station because I had Nicky, and that used to confuse them. So, when I finished my training, I decided to go to Witwatersrand University in Johannesburg. Thought I was ready for the big city. Nicky's parents let her come to Wits too. You know, I wasn't too sure about that because I was halfway looking forward to filling the place out on my own.
I argued non-stop with my parents about how much better the courses in Johannesburg were. Well, I suppose I paid for my sins. You see, I used to sit right at the back of class, completely spaced out, trying fiercely to concentrate. But before I knew what had happened, the lecture was finished, and I come out in this total daze. So I started oversleeping, missing lectures, arriving too late, too embarrassing to tiptoe in. I became a feature at the canteen, sitting under speakers, yelling over the music. I go window shopping in Bloemfontein, eat chocolate cake at the station, and free faces at the Carlton Center, anything. And would usually end up in one of those flea pit movie houses where schoolboys would bunk from school throwing popcorn at me.
After the meeting, we were all talking, and somehow he ended up next to me. He stood so close, and I felt minuscule. I decided that most of our relationship would have to be conducted either sitting or lying. Well, we did lie down. A lot.
So when I felt pregnant, it was with this fantastic excuse to get out of it all. Gosh, I must have been such a pain. Bragging about my swelling belly, hearing of smoking, and then bragging about that too, and then breastfeeding at every public opportunity. I still don't know why Glen married me.
We were very naive in those days. For instance, I had very little to do with politics before coming to WITS. You know, there were things about the government I didn't like if I thought about it, but I'd seen shit happening on both sides of the police force. And I liked my life. I didn't want that change. You know, if anything, you know, WITS put me off it even more. There's so much bullshit flying around. If it's one thing I can't stand, it's a bunch of bullshitters who are so goddamn sure of themselves. You know, like this one guy, Fiegel. He was my tutor for political science. You know, nearly made me change courses. I swear the guy's tutorials on Marxism have put me off for life. The American government ought to hire him in their fight against communism. Save them billions. You just take people, you drop them off in Nicaragua, Cuba, Angola, get them rapping a country a month.
You know, at first, Glen's friends were wonderful. Into art, good food, good music, bit of swimming, everything my mother would have wanted for me. But then, Glen got involved with this political crowd, and they were so heavy, man. And we usually end up at one of those multiracial parties that kind of suffers with Indians. And all they could do was talk politics. I used to get so bored. I mean, well, I suppose that I have much in common with them. I can pretend to relate. And to be honest, some of those people, I don't know, they just didn't seem to be too sincere.
So one day, this woman, Moore, phones me up. She says that she met me in the force. I don't remember. But I say, okay, I'll meet her for a drink at the Devon shore, which I do. Well, to cut a long story short, it turns out that she's a lieutenant, and she's handling the campus. Yeah, she says that she's heard a lot of good things about me, and we talk about Marxist fuck-ups, and then she says that Fiegel is causing a lot of dangerous shit. Would I watch it? Well, only during classes. But first, I say no. But then, I find myself in a Fiegel tutorial. And this guy starts rapping, I mean, way off the subject, on this heavy rap about Nicaragua again. And I start, just out of frustration, to take notes. And I think, oh shit, it's happening. And I look at this guy, I think, what are you saying, man? That's trouble. But then I think, no, wait. It's in my hands. It's in my handwriting. I mean, there was this strange, a double feeling, a feeling of my own power, and of Fiegel as innocent. I mean, here he is, rapping away with that same sick certainty of his, but he doesn't know what's happening to him. I know, because I was happening to him. It was a new feeling. It was a good feeling. And that night, I went home, and I took Nicky out for dinner. It felt like the first time in months.
Oh, we never went out much. As a couple, I mean. We began to argue a lot about Glen's political friends. We'd fight, and then make up. Fight, and then make up, and then... I just stopped sewing.
Anyway, 2 days later, Moore phones me up. So I play it cool. She says,
How's it?
I say, fine. She says,
How's Fiegel?
I say, you know, plugging away as usual, red flag flying. She says,
Yeah, you know, he's going to get a lot of nice people into very bad trouble. Did you take anything down?
I say, yeah, got a few things here, but I don't know how useful it's going to be. But she drives over. comes and picks it up. 2 weeks later, there's a check in the mail. Now look, I'd intended on sending the thing back, but you know, it lay around in various pockets, and then a month later, there's another one there. I mean, there's a baby on the way. But anyway, that's it. I was employed.
Zacharia Melani, affectionately known as Zach. Yeah, I was born in R.S.A. You see, I played double bass. I came up from Cape Town to a couple of gigs and had a hell of a time trying to find a place to stay. That is, until I ran into Timber Monster. You see, he's a trumpet player helped out of some serious trouble about 2 years ago. He has a 1-year contract in the Sutu, and he said I could use his place. That was a garage behind his cousin's place. His cousin, Thenjiwe Bona, an amazing woman. See, I followed her story for years. She and her husband have been active in trade unions and other things. He's been in Polk prison for 2 years. Then she became the prime target for the special branch of police. She's famous for her courage. She's been in and out of detention, and in and out of house arrest. Well, at present, she's confined to the magisterial district of Johannesburg.
The first time I saw Thenjiwe, it was love at first sight. She was speaking at an interracial meetings for women's rights, about 1977 or something. I'd gone along with my husband. I remember just sitting there at the front of the hall listening to him. I couldn't believe my ears. I turned to my husband and I said, "Hey, you want to take a bath?" He says, "What?" I said, "This will be the first woman president of South Africa."
Thenjiwe Bona was pretty. Much prettier than her pictures. Anyway, she showed me the room and it was perfect. I mean, fully furnished. Hell, all I had to bring was my clothes. She had said that Tim had been saying some nice things about me. If I wasn't afraid of being associated with her, I could have the place. There were 2 kids playing about in the yard, a boy and a girl. She closed the door and pulls the bed away from the wall. He has a false bottom and a hidden drawer. She looks at me and says,
I'm sorry, but this is the only safe place. It comes with the room.
the drawer was full of pamphlets. I picked one up. Away with capitalism. Forward with the workers' right way. Armed struggle. She looks at me and says,
So how do you feel?
I think shit. I say, okay, I'll help you forward.
I started going to places I'd never been to before. And when Nicky became a bit too much of a drag, I just sort of discouraged her from coming. Actually, I think she was quite relieved.
No, Melani, the little girl, she didn't take too much notice of me. But the little boy, Dumisani, hey, man, he did. See, he came to my door with a recorder. So I told him to play that Miriam Makeba song, Emma Batani. Hey, it's a song I really love. It happened to be Thenjiwe's favorite too. Hey, so we worked hard on that one, man. We had lots of fun. We listened to tapes together. I took him to a couple of gigs. You know, he had a real feel for jazz. He was like a mascot, a buddy. You know, I've got 2 kids of my own and never lived with either of them. I was beginning to understand what I was missing. Dumisani was just wonderful.
The last party I went to, Glen was sitting around chatting to these women. And I was just kind of standing around, and this black guy comes up to me, and he starts chatting. He takes out a joint, sucks it smooth, lights it up, and hands it to me. Well, I never smoked a joint with a black man before, but I turn around and I see Glen is watching us. So I think, no, I'm fine. So I take the joint, and I take this really long drag. And I turn around and see Glen's watching. But he's got his back to us. He hadn't seen a damn thing. No one saw. And if they did, no one cared.
I started to develop a smell for the whole thing. I discovered how easy it is to manipulate people, to get to know what you want to know. And there are no two ways about it. I started to enjoy it. There's this one guy, Simmons. Now, he was a buddy of Eagles, and it started a whole series of alternative studies programs all over the country. So they banned him and restricted him to the magisterial district of Johannesburg. He didn't cope with this. He decided he wanted to leave the country. So I organized his route and a couple of contacts in Botswana. I said to him, Graham, you mustn't talk about this to anyone. I'm not so sure about a lot of these guys. He said, well, I only told Steve, but I'm leaving tonight. I said, Steve! Oh, no, not Steve. Look, I'll only pray that I'm wrong. Good luck. They arrested him before he got to Rustenburg. And Steve Bona, the rising star of the National Union of South African Students. After that, no one would touch him with a barge pole. 2 birds, 1 stone. Then there was Susan. Now you see, Moore had said to me,
You must get to know more about this Black women workers' rights thing.
they thought it was some sort of ANC link-up. So she'd given me a list of names of everyone who was suspected of being involved. Now, what I used to do was look at all the women's names on the list first. And Susan was at the top. So I thought, yeah, let's go for that.
Thenjiwe, she was something else. You know, I've never seen anybody as busy as her. Yeah, well, when I woke up morning, she was usually gone. And then when she came back from the office, she was busy again. You know, like young folks moving in and out, asking for help and advice. She never did less than 2 things at a time. Like when she'd be watching news on TV, she'd be cutting the meat for stew, or mending, or ironing, or checking homework. And then when you discuss the news with her afterwards, she knew twice as much as you.
I'm Sindiswa, Thenjiwe's sister. My sister is famous because she's brave, she's clever, and she's beautiful. I'm a teacher in Alexandria Township. I live in a women's hostel there. I'm not famous. I'm not so clever, and I'm not so beautiful either. I've heard the things people say about Thenjiwe, but they don't have a 4th sister. I go to her place in Dubai on some weekends and holidays. I love the house. I love the kids. And I love her too. She's a good sister to me. She looks after my son, Dumisani. But she has one problem. She doesn't know the meaning of the word relax. Not only for herself, but for everybody about her. I understand about using your time well and being responsible, but you must also know how to waste it. Otherwise, what kind of person are you?
The last time I saw Thenjiwe, it was at my birthday party. Jesus, what a night. Now, usually I hate surprises, especially on birthdays. But, well, that night was special. I mean, everyone was there. They did this whole number group, and they called themselves the Supremes.
Hey, by the way, folks, we're the Supremes. And we'd like to do some of our hit records for you right now.
You lie there and you think, no, there's nothing. He doesn't want anything from me. And then he would start to move. Really slow. And touch me like no one had. Shit. Has. And when I think about him now, I know I'm not free. It makes me so angry then.
I started going to functions where I knew Sue would be. Pretty soon, things really started cooking. You know, one night after dinner at her flat, she just wouldn't let me out of the door.
You know what I was wondering? Who would have to move what for us to kiss?
Actually, she was amazing. Never once did she ask, what are you thinking about? And the whole time I knew her. It became a very complicated situation. And one day she actually confronted me and I thought, oh fuck, this is it. But it turned out to be about Nicky.
Why didn't you tell me you were married?
Because I'm not.
You are!
Well, it's not in any way that matters.
I didn't know how to take that. But I didn't want to let him go. Not yet. I don't know why, but not yet.
Sometimes Glen would come home till 5 or 6 in the morning. I had this job in the framing shop, so by the time I had gotten up for work, he was either sleeping or he'd gone out again. How's that for a marriage?
One morning, she was making breakfast and I was getting dressed. I saw this Mad magazine, something like that, and its pamphlet fell out. So I picked it up. Un conto y Sizwe. Armed struggle.
Hey, what are you doing?
Nothing. Actually, just thinking about you.
Liar.
It was a good breakfast. Let's see. Bacon, eggs, fresh squeezed orange juice. You know, gunning for fecal had been easy, but this was the ultimate test. I really cared about Susan, but I don't know, I felt this crazy kind of high. It was like standing on the top board, just waiting to jump. I decided to hand it in.
Do you know when I knew that I had lost Glen? I was driving to Brompton and I see Glen standing at the traffic light, waiting for them to change. And there was a small girl, woman, standing there next to him. And he raised his hand like this and laid it on the back of her neck. Now, I know it doesn't sound like much, but to me, his hand was so tender, so caring. I had forgotten it was even possible from him. I nearly died.
They said they were pleased, but I should hang in there for a while longer because they were really after this Thenjiwe Bona woman, a buddy of Susan's and a couple of others that were still in hiding. I'd met this woman at a couple of parties and she had real class. So the next time I was at Sue's place, I just mentioned her name along with a couple of others.
Yeah, she's okay. She's fine.
Look, I'd quite like to see her again.
Well, I'm supposed to be seeing her this weekend. She might be coming by the flat. Why don't you pop in Sunday, say 9-ish?
Which meant that the meeting was 6-ish, 7-ish. I left the rest up to them. They decided to raid the meeting itself, and that meant Susan too. In the end, she actually asked me for a lift to the place. I was very confused, you know, the heavies and the highs.
Everyone at the meeting was quiet and tense. Thenjiwe hadn't arrived, and we were all scared because the last contact we had, she said she thought she was being followed, but thank God she came. Well, when we stopped for supper break, Rashid and I drove to Hillbrook for takeaways. There was quite a mob, and it took ages. When we got back, the watchman was standing in the middle of the pavement.
Go! Kristi, go!
Why?
The police, they took everyone!
Gosh, we sat in the car. We didn't know what to do. Rashid kept going on and on about what we should do and where we should go, and I said, I don't want to do anything. Just take me home. Well, he dropped me off at the cafe on the corner. Well, my phone's tapped. I left a message for Zach. I left a message for Sindiswa, Thenjiwe's sister. I knew Mia was in the Eastern Cape, so I called her. I left a message on her machine. And then I went home to sleep. I had just gotten back from the Eastern Cape. Now, there'd been a lot of trouble in a whole string of townships, and hundreds of people had been arrested. Thenjiwe. I was at home in my office. I sat down with my mouse and turned on the answering machine. The BWWR meeting was great. They've taken everyone you think. They definitely got Thenjiwe. Please, see what you can do. And then 3 along.
Mrs. Steinman, I'm a friend of Susie's. She's been arrested under Section 29. She said to phone you. She said you'd know what to do.
1 minute, I was dreaming of nice Kentucky chicken and chips. And the next, I was on my way to police headquarters with 2 black cops beside me. Well, that's life in the R.S.A. They took us in 3 cars. The one colored cop came to identify us. He looked at me and said,
So you're the type of bitch you've been looking for?
Yeah.
and you know, I was wearing my nice new boots. And he said,
And where'd you steal those boots from anyway?
One Sunday night, a message came through Thenjiwe was arrested. Now she had told me,
if they call you, know nothing.
but shit, I didn't feel safe. Now if they arrested her, they would definitely come and search here. And I didn't want to say nothing about anything, especially not to them. And so I pulled the box out, okay, to the cold bin. No good. Tore it out. Oh, no, too many. Okay, what neighbors could I leave them with? Mrs. Tony. Oh, that wouldn't be fair. I just found myself running over fences, past walking dogs, into the football field. I found the goalpost and I put the box behind there and ran back home. I looked back once and I saw Thenjiwe's package flying through the wind like coats. In 30 seconds flat, I was back in my bed with the door locked behind me.
They came to me at about 4:30 in the morning.
I was sleeping so heavily I didn't even hear the knocking at the door. And my flatmate came running in.
Susie, the police here. The police.
Don't care. Don't start crying. They're here for me, okay? There was this one lieutenant. She kept searching through all of my things.
Oh, it's a shame. Looks like you're this stupid tonight.
You seem to know a lot about me.
Oh, we know everything about you, girlie.
They searched my place for 3 hours. Then they searched my car, my studio. Then they took me to police headquarters at John Forster Square.
They led me through a lot of clanging gates to my cell. There was a young girl there spreading mats. Hey, for a moment I was pleased. Perhaps there'd be company.
Hey, you go. Get out of here. Here, come back here.
She was moved out, and I moved in, and the door was locked. I knew the kids would be okay, but I was worried about Susan. Did she manage to get away? Did she warn Zach about those pamphlets? Anyway, I'm a secondary school teacher in Alexandria Township, but because of all this unrest, there are no serious classes anymore. Mostly there are more policemen and soldiers in our classroom than there are children. On some days, a few students turn up and we carry on with classes. But mostly there are too few to teach. But the regulation is we must be on the premises at all times. So we just sit and worry. Worry about those who could be arrested, those who could be shot.
A few hours later, the police arrived. I heard voices about in the yard, and they were at my door. My time answered it. There were 3 whites and 2 blacks, and they were all speaking Afrikaans. Anyway, I went back to the house. The kids were in the bedroom handling everything a lot better than me. Then they took me back to my room to search. I was doing a lot of praying. Maybe that's why they never found the hidden drawer.
You get a message that Thenjiwe's been taken. You get a message that Susie's been taken. You're talking about friends. Do you know what taken means? Do you know who does to take? Do you know what could be happening to them because of who they are and what they believe in? do you do? I mean, you apply here, and then you apply there. You apply here. You apply there. You apply. You apply. You apply. You apply, and then you wait.
One Sunday evening, I received a message from Susan that Thenjiwe had been arrested. Now, this is not the first time I received a message like this. It's become a part of our lives now. So I packed my bag and got a taxi to Soweto. When I got to the house, Zach was in Thenjiwe's bed with the kids. I sent him to his room and I climbed in behind Dumisani and Ngube. After that warm taxi, they were just lovely.
There was a tap on my left-hand wall.
Sissy.
Hello?
You're so quiet.
I'm eating.
Have you just been brought in? And you're eating?
Sha.
Most people spend the whole week crying, not eating.
Asuka. I'm hungry, man.
Shut up in there.
My cell was great cemented floors. There were 3 felt beds and 2 blankets. There was a toilet, a cement bench, a Bible, cute green walls, and that was it. No, there was a small box way in the corner. It looked like a TV camera. I took my mats and pulled them directly into the camera, in between the cement bench and the walls, and thought to myself, okay, so this is it. Then 4 policemen came in.
Move him back!
Move him back!
Move him back!
Move him back!
Why?
We can't see you on the TV camera.
Well, that's your problem. This is my cell. I'll sit where I like. They adjusted the cameras after that.
After 28 days, they came for me. They led me down a flight of stairs into an office that had been a cell. There were 4 cops. They looked nice and fresh. One of them handed me a thick file of blank pages.
Now, my girlie, you know what you're gonna do? You're gonna write about yourself. Everything. From the day you were born until now. And we won't leave anything out. Your involvement with the ANC, the Azapo, this communist guerrilla training, this BWWR. No games, eh? Not like Pico, or Timo, or Aggie. You remember what happened to them.
I took the pen and began writing. How I found my opening lines, Jesus only knows. I began to write where I was born, where I schooled, my family, my work. I didn't care about sense, I just kept on writing. My pen stopped about the 11th page.
11 pages? No, girlie, you got 89 pages to go.
During my first supper, I thought to myself, okay, so this is it. So what have we got? There's definitely a shower out there, so I'll be clean. I've got plenty of food to eat. A lot of people don't. I've got a roof over my head. A lot of people don't have that either. I've got blankets and mats, so I'll keep nice and warm. They give me a Bible. I hear it's great reading, and if they make me wait, they leave me alone, I'll carry on with my work as usual. I'll give the kids at the center projects every day and imagine what they drew and give them marks. I'll perfect my yoga I'll keep very busy. I organized myself a schedule for the next day in case they didn't call me in for questioning. And then I decided to try and lay down. I tried to picture Glen. I could see his hands and his shirt, but not his face. I wanted to go to sleep, but this light was on.
I've been thinking a lot about Susan. I said to her, this whole thing is getting very difficult. But she said to me,
Oh, come on, man. It's like gardening. You pull up the weeds so the real plants can grow.
she says to me, I'm a landscape artist.
After my 5th attempt,
You know what? You are being very fucking stubborn. So now, you're just gonna stand until you tell us the truth. The only time you'll sit is when you go to the toilet. And that'll only be for a minute. That's all.
and I thought to myself, okay, I will stand until I die.
That was a strange day. I mean, winter and rain. By 6 o'clock, Dumisani had to come back home from school. So I went out to the streets to look for him. And then from house to house. None of the neighbors had seen him, and some of them were still waiting for their own kids. Then out on the main road, there was a bus burning.
I stood 18 hours a day for the first 5 days. They came in 6-hour shifts. When I went back to my cell, I couldn't sit or beg. It took me ages first to sit. And then to lie. But by the time sleep came, it was time to stand again. My body began to swear. They swore at me. Cover bit, threw their leftover food at me. And their cigarette. They began to hit me. On the 7th day, my shift was changed to 24 hours. One day, we had a good attendance at the school. It was quite hot for winter, but then it looked like rain. And then all of a sudden, as if on signal, these children, they started running out of their classrooms and into the streets where the police were. They were shouting, "We will destroy! We will destroy!" They picked up rocks and bricks and dyes of police and started attacking cars and buses. I ran back to the hospital to watch from the window high up. There was running everywhere, just school uniforms all over the township, and shouting and chanting and screaming, "Amandla! Amandla! Amandla!" Counselors' houses were burning. Policemen's houses were burning. Liquor stores were burning. Soon the streets were lost in the dust and the smoke. The clouds from the sky began to meet the clouds from the earth. No! No! And the soldiers moved in. But they were late. Then suddenly we heard quarrel, 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 lightning and thunder louder than any bomb or gun. Poor soldiers. Their guns came down as the rain began to fall.
There was no other sound. Everything else went very quiet. Just the sound of rain. Then people started coming back from work. They walked in the rain, talking as if everything was as they had left it. There were smells of cooking in the hostel. I decided then to go back to Soweto.
I was interrogated every day from early in the morning until 6 o'clock at night. Their first question told me how they saw left us women.
Do you shave your legs?
No, actually, I was born this way.
Do you like soybeans and lentils?
No, I prefer lamb chops. The questions that followed weren't so easy, but they kept me busy. Of course, I watched them like a hawk.
Look, we've got plenty of time, and you're being very uncooperative, and you're a liar. So for now, we're just going to leave you.
You know what? I've got a hell of a lot of time as well. I have absolutely nothing to do. I don't even have appointments. So the best thing for you to do is to send me back to my cell.
But before we do that, we just have one little question about Thenjiwe Bona.
When I got back home, Sindiswa had arrived, but there was no sign of Dumisani. And there was a knock at the door. It was Mr. Toli, our neighbor. He had heard that some kids had been caught in the burning and stoning of the bus, and he thought that maybe Dumisani and his son were with them. So he went with him and 2 other women to Pretoria Police Station.
They take lots of things away from you, like your scarf, your shoelaces, your jewelry, even your tampons. So you start to think of ways of getting back at them. For instance, during interrogation, I started my pen collection. I'm not even sure what I'd use them for, but the captain had pens on her desk. So I stole pens. I'd pick one up, play with it, put it back down, light a cigarette, pick it back up until they really weren't aware of what was happening, and then I'd slip it into my pocket. I had pins hidden all over myself. I had one in between the cushions. I had one beside the bed. I even had one in the sole of my shoe. If they stole one, it wouldn't have mattered, because I had a whole collection of them. Sure. I learned to sleep with my eyes open. I looked up at the ceiling. I slept and I dreamt. I slept and I dreamt. You knew everything. Not only about the boycott we were organizing, but about my sex life, my contacts, my mother's lawn bowling club. And then they got to the point. They asked me what I'd done in Botswana.
Do you like riding in the backs of trucks?
It depends on the company.
Oh, you mean like black men?
Depends on what black
And
men.
on what he's wearing?
That's the point.
Like an A and C t-shirt?
This is boring.
It's food boring.
Sometimes.
Grilled chicken?
No. Actually, I like grilled chicken.
Do you like Molife's grilled chicken?
Actually, it's a bit too salty. I had grilled chicken at Molife's house the night before I left Botswana. They asked me about the pamphlets I collected from Molife and the people I delivered them to in Johannesburg.
At Pretoria Police Station, the black policeman was at the desk and he was reading a photo comic book. He didn't look up at us and I started to cry.
Yeah?
Sir, we're looking for our children.
Take my. No! You must, why are you asking? Must you ask me? You must submit a written application to the police public relations in Pretoria.
Sir, look how unhappy we are. Our children are 10 years old.
Where then?
In Ngube, they didn't come home from school today.
Yes? Nobody was brought in here today. Morocco, maybe.
He picked up his photocopy book and started reading again.
I just came back from court one day. There was a company liquidation. They're getting much more frequent now. When I get this phone call from Sindiswa.
Hello, Mia.
Yes, Cindy?
I'm so confused. I don't know what to do.
What's the matter?
My son, Dumisani, is missing.
Since when?
Last night. We went to Pretoria police station.
That's pointless. Listen, Cindy, just leave it to me.
All I know is that a bus was stolen and burnt.
Do you think you could have been part of it?
No, never.
Are you sure?
Oh my God, I don't know anything anymore.
Cindy, was it taken with other kids?
What do you mean?
From which area? Was it Ngube?
Yes.
Well, then it's possible he could have been taken with other kids.
They said I would just waste my time if I went to Barney Hospital.
You would. Listen, Cindy, if you know a nurse, get her to snoop around or something. Just please, don't join those phone lines yourself, okay?
And Morocco, maybe.
Cindy, listen, just leave it to me. What's his full name again?
Dumisani and Ngube.
Dumisani and Ngube. Okay, I have it. I'll send a telex right away. Listen, Cindy, if you can, sit still. If you can't, don't. I understand. I'll keep in touch. I didn't have a telex machine in my office, so I ran to a colleague in the building. He had been a close friend of mine. I had a lot of big commercial firms as clients. So I explained the situation to him. Told him that a 10-year-old child had just been arrested and that I needed to use his telex machine. He just shook his head and said, "Oh, no, Mia, I'm sorry. But my partners and I feel that in times like these, we really can't be associated with messages of the nature." I just looked at the man and I said, "I hope that one day neither your children nor your partner's children will have conscience enough to find themselves in the same situation. And that you, my learned friend, have no fucking telex machine at hand." I sent a cable by phone. When I realized how much they knew, I panicked. I drew pamphlets in Thenjiwe's back room, pamphlets in machines by the storeroom. I agonized for a piece of folded paper, the backseat of my car, and thought, no, they know about the pamphlets. Forget about the pamphlets. And then I began to function again. I sat still and said nothing. Oh, gosh. They said they were going to leave me alone. For 3 days. After a whole day of silence, I was being taken back to my cell. To stew. One dream came from the sound of their boots, pacing up and down around me. I dreamt that my lawyer, my sister, Zach, Susan, Glen, Nicky, I dreamt they gathered all around me. What are you doing here? Are you crazy? There are whites all around here. They'll kill you. Sindiswa, you're always starting trouble. But they all just laughed at me. They all had guns. They gave me one too. We started to sing and dance down the stairs.
Who
I awoke before we reached the gate.
Suddenly there was a goomba, a police van approaching. All you could see were shadows inside and fingers reaching through the wire mesh windows. But it was all older men. Then another van came behind it. It stopped at the gate. We're looking for my son, Dumisani and Ngube.
Dumisani,
He's 10 years
he
old.
has a recorder, a blue sweater, brown skin. Dumisani.
The van passed through the gate and children filed out. There were little ones and big ones. Others were crying. Some of them were still singing. Then the police filed out. One of the older ones cried out, "Mama, tell me let the little ones go! But none of them knew Dumisani.
take it anymore. I sent Cindy home in a taxi. I wanted to run on away like a madman. I mean, I asked every friend of his I could find. I asked every friend's father, sister, brother. But no one knew anything about Dumisani.
The other day I had this conversation with the prosecutor. Now I don't remember his name, but he was talking about the black kids, the exploitation of the children by the ANC, brutality of children. I said to him, Hans. Okay, that's his name. I said, Hans. I said, haven't you got eyes? Can't you see what's been happening? Your bloody government has been waging war against children since 1976. You want to know how I see them? As our liberators. Yours, mine, their parents. They're fighting for the freedom of us all. Freedom, he says. From what? From all lies that you've been drowning in since I don't know when. You want to know why you're pissing in your pants? It's because their blood is a mirror in which you see yourself. I know them. I speak to them. It's you I run away screaming from and what you're forcing them to become. Listen, if you want to count barbarians, then you're the first in line.
Bullshit! They want to talk to us about shooting children? No one in the world has the right to judge anyone else. Well, they should talk to the Americans about bombing them, huh? At Nagasaki, Napalm, Philadelphia. Did you hear about the blacks they bombed in Philadelphia? Racism is a problem everywhere. It's primal. And deep down, that goes for the Beatles, too. You know, they need us to be like this. It's the new pornography of the world, and we're the stars. Well, they sit and watch us like some voyeurs in a sleazy leather bar. Ah, no, man.
Early one morning, when it was still dark outside, there was a loud bang.
It's not fair. The commissioner's at home sleeping with his fucking wife, and I have to sit here watching this fucking copper girl.
It was a young cop. He was kicking the wall. His was a face I'd seen before. I dreamt about it. Shame. For a moment, I pitied him. At least I was doing something I believed in. But what was his life? Locked up in a cell with a swaying, swelling copper girl with rolling eyes? He reached in his pocket and asked the other cop for a coat.
Give me a bottle, eh?
He watched me.
How many boyfriends do you have?
I didn't answer.
You missed him?
He moved towards me. I closed my eyes, and when I opened them, I don't know how much longer, he was still there, standing, watching. I thought, I don't believe this. He wants to grab me, to take me. I wanted to tell him, it's no use, man. It'll take me an hour to lie down, and I'm no good at doing it standing. His gun was on the table. If I could just fall that way, I'd land on it. The thought of using a gun for the first time got me very excited. I saw it all happening. Consume! Consume! Again and again! Consume! Consume! Like a crazy cowboy movie! Consume! Consume! Again and again! Consume! Consume! The other cop came back with the coat. I think we were equally disappointed.
You heard about the bomb in the burger barn town. Well, I swear to
One day, my toilet escort came for me.
Come in. She doesn't want to go to the bathroom. She wants to play a little game.
They were talking about me as if I wasn't even there. The wardress had a little smile on her face. I stared straight into her eyes.
Here.
I kept on staring. She didn't move.
Hit her.
She moved towards me. I stayed staring. Her steps got smaller and smaller until suddenly she ran out the room. After an hour or so, she came back. This time, they let me go. On the way to the toilet, she asked,
Listen, what would you have done if I had hit you?
I would have killed you. I swear to God, I would have.
You know, I could see it in your eyes that you truly done guerrilla training.
Yes, I lied. All I have to do is touch you with the tips of my fingers like this. She never came back for me again.
I went to Deep Blue to find a certain nursing sister who read wounded children. The streets were very quiet. I counted 3 armored cars along the way. Suddenly, a group of boys and girls came running. Then there was chaos. Gunshots, tear gas, women screaming children's names, police jumping from everywhere. There was a boy standing, he was bleeding from the stomach. A man dragged him down the side street. An old woman was standing at the door screaming, "No Maza! No Maza!" The little girl was standing at the gate crying, so I brought her. We sat in this dark room, away from all the windows. I noticed the old woman hadn't wet herself. She held the little girl close to her. She looked at me and said, "Look at me, my son. Look at what they are doing to us." It was 2 hours before I could go back home. When I got back home, an armored car. A hippo was at the gate.
They were angry with me because they still had no statement to present to their senior. One of them grabbed my hand, forced a pin between my fingers, and tried to make me cry.
You and your fucking ANC. But did you hear what happened in Mamalone? They incite your children, but this time they learned their lesson. Because not only did your children get shot, but also your grandmothers too.
What do you want me to do? Do you want to see me cry? I won't cry for those grandmothers. I know them and they are proud. Because every grandmother that gets shot gives birth to 1,000 freedom fighters. I threw my pen at them.
She's definitely trying to kill her. If she were Russian trained, she would have given up a long time ago.
One day, an officer came in and threw a bag in my lap. So I said thanks.
Do you know what it's for?
To put things in. Now you must give me a lipstick, a notebook, and a pencil.
Very funny.
What's it for then?
You tell me.
Money? But I don't need any.
Stop playing games.
Okay. It's a hood.
went to the door. When I got to the door, there were 2 black policemen there. One of them was holding Dumisani.
Stop. You can't do that. This boy's under arrest. Go inside.
What has he done?
Who are you?
I'm his mother.
You're not Thenjiwe Bona.
She is my sister, but this is my son. What has he done?
He was found last week on the buses and cars.
I don't believe it. Can I ask him? Dumisani was dirty and cold. His lip was swollen. And he said,
Mama, I was having to shut up on the rain. They were chasing the other boys, but they took me.
That's what they all say. You can't talk to him now. Let's come to the station.
then Zacharia.
What's the matter?
Dumisani wouldn't look
Well,
at
is
him.
he all right?
I don't know. I have to go down to the police.
Who are you?
I'm coming with you.
Who are you? Are you the father?
No, I'm a friend.
Then you stay here.
I put on my coat and I followed them out. They let Dumisani in and I followed.
Began to do a lot of screaming. I'm not sure if it was while I was sleeping or when I was awake. All I know is that one day they showed me a statement I had signed. And then the captain started being really nice to me. She brought in a pack of cards one day, made out of a school exercise book. She could only play snap, so I tried to teach her running. So where you from?
Sorry, me? Baltimore. I've never heard of that. It's a small place in the Free State. My mother and father own a farm just outside there.
What do they farm?
Sheep, mostly.
So you grew up on a farm?
Yes, it's nice there.
How'd you end up working for the police?
Well, I was doing my final exam and I didn't know what to do. The police sent a woman to our school and what she said sounded nice, man. She said it's a job where you can really serve the community. Help people.
So how'd you end up in jail for it?
No, they transferred me here. I don't mind, because Andy's here too.
Who's Andy?
He's my fiance.
Oh, you have a lovely ring.
Yes, it's just like that one on TV.
The hippo didn't feel much like a hippopotamus. It felt more like being swallowed by a crocodile. It was cold and dark. There were more policemen inside. I couldn't see it. I couldn't count how many. They wouldn't even let me sit next to my own son. And I couldn't believe he was guilty. And if he was, why this mad machine? Why all these men for one child? The hippo went very slowly. The policemen were very young. I remembered stories I'd heard about women being arrested and then raped. I sat back so they couldn't see my face. God, I just wish they would hurry. For the first time in my life, I couldn't wait to get to a police station.
When I awoke, I saw 6 plates of food untouched. I tried to work things out. What had happened? How long had I slept? Where was I?
When we got to the police station, they showed me a statement that Dumisani had written. My God, it was all there. How he had stoned buses in a Mercedes-Benz. It was all there in his scribbly child's little handwriting. I prayed, I said, please, God, let them warn him and send him home with me. But he wasn't listening. led Dumisani away and told me to go home. I just stood there and stared.
Now what's the matter?
I don't understand. Why wouldn't you let me pay bail?
Shock. You never seen the Botswana?
Botswana. This child can't even go to Alexandria on his own.
What about those comrades? They call my cell out. I said, fire you all.
Please let him go. He's a good child, I swear.
Is that so? Well, we spoke to Dumisani's headmaster. He said he wouldn't listen. It always makes trouble at school.
I became very confused. I didn't argue anymore. He told me to come back the next morning. So I left. Look. I'm not going to pretend I don't know something about what's happening. Sarah. She does my washing for me. She tells me a lot about what's happening in Soweto. Both sides. And you know, in the end, I just have to tell her, stop! Damn, just stop! I'm a single parent, trying to raise a child, a boy, without a father. I don't have time to get depressed. The headmaster and his wife came over to ask about Dumisani. We sat down and had tea and we talked about the problems of the township. And then the headmaster's wife said, do you know what happens to little boys in there? The older ones use them as women. And the headmaster said, no, that you must keep quiet and that we must think of Dumisani. And I said to him, I said, Baba, I went down to the police station today and they told me that you said Dumisani was a bad boy and that he always made trouble at the school. And he just shook his head. And he said, they are devils, my child. Because when I told them how good Dumisani was, they said, how come his mother says otherwise?
One night, I heard someone whistling. And about Barney, Thenjiwe's favorite song. And I said to myself, where in this hellhole is she? And what are they doing to her?
Shut up! Thenjiwe! Thenjiwe!
There was a voice. It was from across the street.
C.
I couldn't make out the voice. I could just make out the shape of a man down below. His body moved into some light. Zach! Zach!
Cece, is that you?
Shy. Though you wouldn't know me if you saw me now. Zach! Zach!
Cece. We thought you were dead. We've heard you've been missing for days.
I'm okay. How is everyone? How are the kids?
The kids are fine, Cece. I must go. Someone's coming.
No.
Cece?
Wait. What day is it?
Sunday.
Sunday. Where are you standing?
What?
What place is this?
John Foster Square.
They said they were going to charge me. That meant a lot of things. That I would be sent to deep to await trial. That I would be out of solitary and with other people. And that maybe I could see Glen or Mia. That pleased me, but otherwise, I couldn't feel. I tried doing a little bit of yoga, but that didn't help. I ended up pacing back and forth in my cell. There were a lot of children in the prison. I could hear them calling and yelling to each other. Then one of them started to sing, and the others joined in. It was the song Thenjiwe had taught me. Boys never sleep because they're afraid of the children. They lie with bombs because they're afraid of the children. There's a gun next to the bed and a gun between the cushions. The boys lie with their guns because they're afraid of the children. And in the morning, when the four wake up, they go to shoot children. The poor never sleep because they're afraid of the children. They say we haven't even begun to feel the force of this government. That there are mountains full of arms and mine shafts full of fuel. I think of the men who collected it all, and nothing terrifies me anymore. The other day, I was walking through town, reading all these headlines about reform. I walked past the drill hall, and the pavement was full of army recruits. Young white boys, in their sandals and shorts, their strong brown legs and bent fingernails, saying goodbye to their mothers and sisters and sweethearts. I just looked at them, and I thought, Christ, where are you going? Why are you letting them go? They tell you that apartheid is dead, yet they're sending you to fight people who knew it all along. They're talking about releasing Mandela, yet they arrest people like Susie and Thenjiwe. Don't you see what liars they are? How insane they are? Don't you see who your enemy is? I wanted to tell them, run, hide from them, don't let them touch you, don't let them near you. I swear, I wanted to pray. Sometimes I wished I believed in God.
The next day, I thought we were going to court. But instead, they took us to a commissioner of oaths. I brought Dumisani this warm tracksuit. They wouldn't let me give it to him. They wanted Dumisani to sign and repeat everything he'd written in his statement. They made him stand in front of this big Afrikaans man who was the commissioner of oaths. Then they brought in another man, a black man, to translate because the commissioner only spoke Afrikaans. My child was dirty and cold, and he was shivering. to them,
If I tell the untruth, would you let me go home to my mother? I'm very cold.
and they said, "Ja, tell us the truth." And so he told them the truth about how he did hide in the shelter, but it was from the rain, and that was all. And the other statement about stoning buses in a Mercedes-Benz happened because the police were threatening him. They were hitting him, and he was afraid. I knew then they would never let him go. They made him sign. They put a pen in his hand, and he signed slowly and carefully. Then these huge men took the pen from him, and they made him raise up his hand like this and make an oath. And I watched, and I thought, these men have made my child swear twice. They have made him lie under oath at least once. These men have stood before a child and did this to a child. There is a place in hell for men like this. And there is an even deeper hell for men who pay men like these. And they will go there and they will burn together. You know something? Everyone is leaving. All of my friends. Every second guy I know escaped the country to avoid the army. Nothing seems real. I just stay home all day and watch videos or smoke weed. You know, there's Dominic, but I can't believe there's a place like Cape Town. You know, you see all these things on TV. San Francisco, Rome, Hawaii. But I don't want to go there. Look, I didn't ask for this shit. I didn't vote this government into power. I've never voted in my life. What's the point? But Dominic said, I wish I had an American passport. Shit, I wish my granny were American. But with my luck, she'd probably live in Harlem. Thank you very much.
After 2.5 months, they had still refused to release Dumisani into Sindiswa's custody. But I continued to appeal. I phoned them every day. And then, for one of their very strange reasons, they phoned me.
Hello, Mrs. Steinman?
Yes.
You're handling
Dumisani and Ngube.
Listen, it's okay. You can come fetch the little black boy, but you must come yourself. He's been released into your custody, not his mother's.
Well, what do you know? 1 step forward and 2 steps back. I drove to the magistrate's court as fast as I could.
Stand up!
Hurry up.
Good. They subpoenaed me for Susan's trial. When I came into the court, she smiled at me. And blew me a kiss. Shit, that hurt. I thought she knew. Mia was there, of course. And a lot of other people who used to be my friends. I just stood there watching the judge the whole time, which is what they had instructed me to do.
That moment in court, when Glen was called to the witness box and announced himself as
Warrant Officer Glen Donahue.
Her face will be imprinted here for the rest of my life.
And there he is. In his blue I tried reading the article, but I couldn't concentrate. I went into the kitchen and opened the fridge. There was a package of Smarties I had got from the I leaned against the kitchen stove and ate them one by one and watched the kitchen flood. I had to fetch Dominic from nursery school. I went to the bedroom and laid down. Lover Donahue? Police fucking spy! I got my car keys. And I reached the nursery school. I don't remember seeing a single traffic light.
So, now they've offered me a full-time job with police. A commission. I've taken it for the moment, but I'm not sure exactly what I want to do. I've often thought about becoming a game ranger or a forester or something. No, I'm serious. If you must go to Soweto, you must look at these kids. You must look into their eyes. They stink, man. They stink of victory. It looks like pretty soon we're all going to have our houses burned down, so I think the best place to be is a place where there are no houses, like a forest. Well, come to think of it, things are pretty quiet around here. People avoid me in the streets. They don't wave back. Oh, yeah. Mia did, but it wasn't exactly a wave. Only cops love me now.
I went to see Dumisani at Mia's house in Saxonwall. I had his baseball bat and his recorder. Hadn't been out of Soweto for weeks. What's that guy's name? Armstrong. Talking about landing on the moon. That's what Saxonwall felt like. I mean, all those houses, those gardens, that cool sprinkling water.